The following may contain language which will be offensive to some people and inappropriate for children. Still here? Then pour your favorite beverage and let's get this fucking show started.
Forum, assemble! You are watching Fantastic Forum, the premier show about comic books and your live weekly conversation about entertainment and geek culture. We are the Fantastic Forum, coming to you live and direct from Fantastic Forum Studios, Los Angeles, mostly, kind of, sort of, and such. Yeah. How's everybody doing? Like, I messed around and I was like, I was in the rhythm for a second, and then I was like, oh, actually, I'm not in Fantastic Forum Studios, Los Angeles. So I'm like, oh, well. But, anyway.
They don't need to know that.
Yeah, I know. Well, they know. Look, they looking at me. They're like, what cave is he in? But anyway, welcome to Fantastic Forum. You have the usual suspects. Oh, wait. Yeah. Let's go with that. You have the usual suspects in the building. First and foremost, he is our riddle inside of an enigma trapped in Chinese finger cuffs. You don't know him. You love him anyway. He's our silent assassin, Jay.
Hey, what's up?
Next, he's our intrepid senior reporter. He's next in line for the cowl. He's our resident Dark Knight detective. It's Oz.
We are actually live from coast to coast in every major time zone because there's one that doesn't really count.
Wow. Look,
nobody cares about the mountain.
Look, listen. You didn't have to say them. They knew. They knew to feel bad. Nobody in the Midwest was like, oh, I think he's talking about us. No special time. It was all the mountain people like, oh, that son of a bitch.
What is the conversion rate for the mountain time anyway?
It's 1 hour from LA.
Okay. Is that why the old like PBS commercials used to say 9/8 Central or something?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, but right, because Central Time. But keeping in mind again, that's not Mountain Time. Look, that is our backbone, our pillar, the strength of the Fantastic Forum, our nigh invulnerable brawler and resident strongman, Moses Magnet.
I'm here.
Yes. And as for myself, my name is Lawrence Young. They call me Mary Young. Welcome to Fantastic Forum. We got a great show for you today. We're going to be talking to you all about the latest M. Night Shyamalan movie, Old. We're also going to be talking to you all about the graphic novel that movie's based on, called Sandcastle. And we're going to bring you a review of Sonjaversal, the comic about multiversal red Sonjas. So, yeah. It's going to be a good and interesting show. We got all that, but before we do that, we want to make sure that we thank Mr. Scott Rubin, who without him, this show wouldn't have happened. So thanks, Scott. Hope you're doing well. Yeah. And so what am I forgetting to do? I don't know.
The intern.
Oh, thank you. That's what I need to do. If you want to get down with Fantastic Forum, we do have a few different ways for you to do it. Here's how.
Want to get in on the action? Call Fantastic Forum on Skype and join the fun. Too shy to call in? That's okay. You can join the Discord chat room available at
FantasticForum.live.
Join the party. You know you want to.
Did he say who needs to do our intern?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Absolutely.
Who's our HR guy? Herbert? What was his name?
Herbert Ross.
I think it was Langston.
Also, Mo, are you teetotaling today?
What do you mean? I'm just drinking out of a mug.
Is that tea or is that
It's Kentucky
Irish coffee?
It's Kentucky tea.
Okay. All right.
It's just soda water and whiskey.
Okay, look, sure. All right.
Look, I'll be cussing you out in about 15 minutes. Don't worry about that.
Real quick, chat. Tiger Claw says, I didn't know Old was based on a graphic novel. Who knew?
We knew.
Not Shyamalan.
Chat says, "Why is Mayor in a car?" I don't know, Mayor. Why are you in a car?
I'm in a car because the place where I'm staying is small and full of people that are going to be trying to sleep right now. So listen, this I'm in a car because I'm dedicated to Fantastic Forum. That's why. Okay, the end. What's look? There's any more chat? Oh,
Tiger Claw says, "So M. Night Shyamalan is directing comic book movies now. I wonder what sort of twist he'll put."
Oh, we'll tell you.
Well,
All about it.
I mean, we're spoiling it, right?
Yeah.
yeah. No, we'll definitely be doing some spoilers for both Sandcastle and for Old because I don't know that there's any way we can get around it. But yeah, I'll say that. But we'll make sure we warn you beforehand. So
actually, that's the warning.
I mean, there'll be other warnings though when we get into it. Like I don't know if we're getting into it right now, but we can.
To it. Let's get
Let's
into
get into it. Okay, well let.
I play that music. My mouse isn't working.
That sucks.
Yeah, the battery's dead. That's
Current topic, old. I don't know why. It just made me laugh when I saw it pop up.
Comic book theater.
Thank you, Tiger Claw.
For some reason, that theme really goes with Old.
It does. It does. I agree. So yeah, the latest M. Night Shyamalan movie. It's called Old. It came out, I want to say, like 2 weeks ago at this point?
About that, yeah.
3 weeks? I don't know. It's been, but it's been a few weeks. It is about a group of people that get spirited away to a resort and end up going to a little cove on a tropical island that makes everyone there age rapidly. So and of course hilarity ensues, right? So
In chat says, "Is it better than The Village?" I mean, yeah. Like, I know it's hard to top. Like, The Village was awesome. Like, that's one of my favorite.
Yeah.
The
Realize
show on Flex.
you realize like most people don't hold that opinion though, right?
I think all of us here kind of do. I was just like he doesn't, but that's just for the air.
No, I liked The Village as well, but The Village, like, a lot of people were disappointed by The Village.
I don't think I watched The Village.
You didn't, because if you did, you'd be a different person.
Yeah, there's a point in time that I just stopped watching Shyamalan movies.
If you watch it, just know it's not bad costume design.
I remember us talking about it though.
Okay. Yeah. So, let's just go around real quick. Let's just get initial takes on Old from everybody. Jay, what'd you think of Old?
I thought it was like really good. Like, it was different, but it wasn't a travesty like Avatar was.
Comparing apples to apples with M. Night Shyamalan movies.
Right. Like, he tried to adapt Avatar and he failed, like, spectacularly. But adapting Sandcastle, I thought he did a good job. Like, this, like, even with the differences, it's still a pretty good adaptation. Like, you get the feel of the graphic novel, with the exception of the add-on stuff.
Okay. All right. Oz, what was your take on Old?
Like most of his movies, unwatchable, slow paced, drab. I did a lot of fast forwarding through it, and maybe it's because I read the book before I watched the movie.
Yeah,
that might have affected how I felt about what was going on. And of course, like I said, I just watched it a couple of days ago, whereas I already knew the plot, I already knew the twist, I already knew all of that, and I still wasn't interested before that.
Yeah. Just for a quick comparison, Jay, did you watch the movie first or did you read Sandcastle first?
Both times I watched the movie first.
Okay. How does
What's the other?
wait? So you watched the movie twice before you read the book? Is what you're saying?
No, I watched the movie and then I read the book, and then I watched the movie again and I read the book again. I actually really enjoyed the movie and the book. Like,
Now you have to watch the movie while holding up the book.
I was gonna do that, but I was afraid that I would get in trouble because all my books are on my tablet, and so I was worried. One, the light from the tablet would like distract people, or two, they might think I was recording the movie, and like it would be an issue. But I didn't want to do that.
Got it. Okay. Moses Magnum, what did you think of the movie Old? Just your initial take.
My initial take, I didn't read the comic first. I actually read it after. And I liked it. And I liked it, it was drab, it was slow paced, and but it was beautiful cinematography, beautiful the people, like they were distinct characters, and it felt like something you would see in a comic or a Stephen King adaptation, like The Mist, or something like that. So it had that vibe, and that made me enjoy it. The twist and everything was cool, but when I found out it was a comic, I'm like, So then I go back to read the comic, and look, we'll get into that review later.
Yeah, Titan Claw in chat says, I bet the twist is different in the movie than in the book. And here's the thing, and we're going to talk about the book later, but real quick, the book has no twist. So that is just Shyamalan has to rub his junk all over it. And
the twist is that the comic actually has more of a moral, whereas the movie doesn't.
Well, let's we're obviously we're gonna get to the point we have to start talking about the contrast, right?
I'm just dabbling my tongue in their bung, like
the twist is we're not really gonna talk about the book.
Oh, geez, man. Okay, so I will say that I actually did read the book before I watched the movie. I as far as the movie goes, I'm there's some things that I really liked about it, and there are other parts of it that I didn't like. And
the black guy.
No, I mean, listen. First
I didn't hear no.
Well, here's the thing. So yeah, there is a character that is like a black guy that is I guess a rapper.
Yeah, he's a rapper. They say he's a rapper whose rap name is Midsize Sedan.
Right, which is like what? Midsize Sedan? Like what?
Lil Van was taken.
Like I don't like. And here's the thing: like we live in a day and age where all the rap names suck. But Midsize Sedan is like, you can't just put that out there and not have any kind of explanation for it, right? Like we need to know why he chose to call himself Midsize Sedan, don't we?
I think
we do.
Big.
Huh?
It's like the guy, that football player, Refrigerator Perry. Like he's just big.
A mid-sized sedan is not big. It's literally mid-sized.
It's bigger than a person.
Well, every car is bigger than most people. I mean, there is like the fattest guy in the world that's probably bigger than like the Mini Cooper. Okay, I'll give you that, but neither one of those are really good representations of what they're supposed to be. That big fat guy is not. People aren't supposed to be that big, and cars aren't supposed to be that small. It's like, what do we? I don't look, but I was like, and the wild part is the character in that version of the character in the comic. It has like a whole different vibe going on with him. And so I'm just like, wow, like what, like why did they decide to do this? But okay, mid-sized sedan, I guess, you know. But you know, it's just interesting, like some of the choices that they decide to make in adapting it. And it's not like, I agree with you, Jay, in the sense that the 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 adaptation definitely does have the feel of the book, of the source material, and you know, and it takes some liberties, but they're not anything major. But it's just like,
They just
or I guess I should say, the like you, nothing's major until the end, right? Like, you know, which goes back to Oz's point with Shyamalan rubbing his trunk all over stuff, which, you know, that normally when Oz says that, I'm like, that's a bit of a over exaggeration. But at the same time, it's like, but right now, I'm like, no, I think Oz is right. Like, he did rub his trunk on it, and like it shows up the most at the end, but it happens in other parts of it too. Where it's just like, why is this happening like this? I don't know. I don't know. Like, what, Mo, why, like, what made you enjoy the film? Like, what made you feel like, you know, this is like, because you some of the things that Oz criticized about it, you kind of spun in a positive light. So why is it that those worked for you, but you know, yeah, why do you feel like those worked for you?
I feel a lot of like horror movies or suspenseful movies like nowadays are a little too rushed. They don't
Mm.
take their time to show you a story. They tell it through a lot of dialogue and then a lot of action. And this literally, they're just stuck in on a beach, and it tells you a lot of these about these characters. And you know, before reading the comic, of course, they tell you a lot about these characters as part of the plot, and it just does what it does. You know, the comic does that a little better and a little less less talking. So, you know, and then you know the scenery would like technically the movie was made well, yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah, I agree with you.
the pacing I felt was fine too, like because it's a movie about time,
Yeah.
and you're spending time seeing it. Like, what if you were growing old by the minute? Would you be spending your time watching a fucking movie in a theater? You know, like that's a little meta thing that's just me, but that what invokes to me is that and that's a part of the experience for me. You know, so it's like, yeah, it's a waste of time. Like, and time is one of the things that, I mean, you know, we had time in the pandemic, and some people were like, "Oh, it's time that I could be doing this." I was like, "Yeah, but it's time you're doing this." You know, whatever you're choosing to do, you're choosing to do it. And you know, they say time is money. I think time is more valuable than money.
It's
Money will
true.
come back, time won't. You know, and that little aspect of the movie of how they deal with the time they're there.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we'll get to the comic, but when that comes through in the comic, is a lot more poignant and impactful and better than it's done in the movie here. I think they just breathe through it. You know, it's lost in translation and adaptation, but
Yeah, that's funny because there's guys from Lost in it.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
yeah. And that's the thing. Like, if you like shit like Lost and Twilight Zone, like this is a movie that gives you what you like in those things,
Mhm.
and you know, with an actual ending that makes sense.
Heck in chat says, I'm changing my SoundCloud name to Fiat Heck. May I suggest Pinto?
Dang, that's racist.
He's Mexican. It works. I didn't say frijol.
Jay, you know, I know that this was a film that you were actually looking forward to seeing. And also, you know, or I should say, having read the graphic novel, do you feel like they chose to add like, or tried to add a bit of like, or I don't want to say like horror is not the right word, but horror elements the best way I could come up, the best term I could come up with. Do you feel like they tried to like add a bit of a horror element to this movie? And if so, why do you think they did that?
I do think they added a horror element, which is most, uh, which is most, damn it, what's that word? Prominent in the scene with the calcium deficient woman.
Yeah.
Which is like just, oh my God, terrible.
I loved it.
Man, I know, right?
Yeah.
And a shot at the end, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Literally, what the fuck in your head? You're trying to see what is what, and it's like, oh my God. And it's like, I do think they tried to add a horror element, just because, like, the book is kind of like a drama, but I don't feel like Shyamalan is like a big drama person. Like, I know he does it, but I feel like in a story that's inherently a horror, as an island where you're uncontrollably aging, he just went with it.
See, but I like that doesn't feel like it has to be a horror.
Well,
movie.
it's
horrifying.
It's horrifying,
the thought of it, yes.
And that's like, I feel like he took on this adaptation. It's a horrifying thought, but it can also be a beautiful thought, you know, because depending on what you choose to do with that day, you're gonna be alive.
Yeah.
Here, he played on the horror part of it, and he gave you something that was more or less scary to think about, and gave you something that's just going to play on that aspect of your thought process for this.
See,
you know,
and it's interesting though too, because it's like the part, like, in my mind, and I think this is part of like why I'm kind of like a little, like on the fence about the movie itself, because there's some aspects of it like I said, I really enjoy, but in my mind, I'm like, if you wanted to make a horror movie about rapidly aging, it feels like there's ways you can do that like you can adapt that concept into something that is actually scary, or or horrifying, that touch on that premise. But realistically, in this movie, the the rapid aging is more of a vehicle for other stuff that's happening. Like, because we're rapidly aging, this terrible thing happened. Or, because we're all rapidly aging, this other terrible thing happened. But nobody really, like, very little of it is like, oh man, this is like, this terrible thing happened to me because I'm getting older. Like, the closest we come in the movie is when, like the leads of the movie, which I guess is the first, like the original couple, like one, the woman starts losing hearing in one of her ears, and the other guy like starts like going blind, right? And so it's like, that's the closest we come to like, oh man, this is messed up because I'm aging, this terrible thing is happening to me. Like everything, almost everything else that's like really terrible that happens is more of a because people are trying to, they're trying to figure out how to get off this beach.
And that's kind of the weird thing. That's probably what he felt if he read the comic, what he felt in the comic, because in the comic they become horrified every time they see their child grow, and it's not horrifying that the time is doing it, it's that they're seeing their kids grow and they're coming closer to death
by
watching their kids. So it's almost an allegory of real life. Like, the more you see your loved ones get older, it's one less day for you. Know, and and that's it's some when we get to the comic, I'll say that it is one of those opportunities that was missed in this movie and lost in adaptation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oz, what made you like dislike it as much as you did?
It's just long, drawn out, and not entertaining.
That's fair. That's like you're just like there's no aspect of it that kind of like piqued your interest.
Like, I don't mind dialogue-heavy movies or
Mhm.
look. I loved Outer Limits and Twilight Zone and all that. That's a lot of that is
Yeah.
basically little mini Shyamalan movies.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I couldn't sit there and watch this.
Yeah, and I get it.
I think he would like it if it was 45 minutes long.
I could see that. Honestly, like I feel like, and this is another reason why I don't understand some of the choices in the adaptation, because I feel like there are characters in the book that if they were in the movie would make the movie more interesting.
Yeah.
I can agree with that. And I think it also bugged me that I knew the kids were gonna fuck.
Well, why does that bug you?
It bugged me in the book, and I didn't want to get to that in the movie.
Oh, I mean, even though they're like of age, because
they're not really of age. See, mentally they're supposed to be whatever age they started, right?
That's the beauty of the comic. We're not reviewing that yet, but that's the beauty, because that's as a parent or a guardian of somebody young, when you start seeing them be sexual, like you still see them as your kids, and that's the mind fuck of life, and they're experiencing it because of this phenomenon. You know what I mean? Like, that's the brilliance of this story in the comic.
I think Bo hits on it perfectly. The comic did a way better job with presentation, I guess. It's the way the parents reacted to the kids aging. Everything Mo is saying and comparing it to the comic, I agree with.
Like, even the sex scene in the comic, I mean, we're getting ahead of ourselves. It's because of the time. Because we're only here for a minute of time and we're aging as we speak.
Exactly.
But the sex scene in the comic was more of a playful, innocent thing. As they learn and use their new body, and whereas this, they didn't, in the movie, they didn't play as much on that. They just say they're kind of comfort. They're like mischievous almost, And whereas in the comic, it's more like their hormones are doing what their hormones are doing physically, and mentally they're trying to catch up, and which could be another aspect of life, because everybody loses their virginity when they lose it for different reasons, or and they don't have everybody's on their own time with that. You can't rush that shit. You should rush that shit, But
just thing Oz was asking about, mentally they're not still the same age. And it's not explained in the movie or the book, but the characters' minds also age up, and they have a lot of knowledge that they shouldn't have. Like, and like I say, they don't explain it, but the kids are actually mental age is close to their body age, like at that point.
Yeah, because if they were the mental age is still and just had grown bodies, they would not necessarily be trying to do all the things that they end up doing, whether you talk about the movie or the comic.
Yeah, I mean,
like even the way they react to sex, like the one that's like in between age of the adults and the kids views it differently at a different stage of her growth and development throughout that day. Like, she sees it more as a fun thing instead of like something new, like the kids, or something that's bad, like the adults, that they shouldn't be doing in this situation,
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and just talk about the comic too. So, and we can maybe just do like a dual rating or whatnot.
Should I play the music for the comic?
Yeah, play the music. Let's do it, because I don't think we can keep going without talking about the comic too.
Comic book
review.
Comic book
Like
review.
Well, not like that, but like
So yeah, let's talk about Sandcastle, and which is the comic that the graphic novel that Old is adapted from. And again, let's go around with just a quick take off the top. Jay, what was your initial thoughts on Sandcastle?
Um, Initially, I thought it was amazing. Like, it's just a stripped down kind of, this is your situation, and you're watching how these people react to that situation. And that is something I really enjoy. It's one of the reasons I like horror, because I just like seeing like the kind of decisions and things that people do in these intense, stressful situations. And so the book is kind of just like all of that.
Yeah. Okay. Oz, what's your initial take on Sandcastle?
Unlike the movie, this book doesn't feel the need or desire to explain anything to you. These people show up to this place and they're going to age rapidly, which is weird because I think one of the families had been there before
Mm-hmm.
because they were marking the kid's age
Yeah.
on the sign. So
Right.
it's not like to them, they'd been there before and it was always safe.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then stuff happens and they don't like. I don't think I ever found out why that one guy nose kept bleeding.
Right.
No, they don't explain that.
Yeah, whereas in the movie, Shyamalan feels the need to explain everything. Every goddamn thing.
Except for why he's called mid-sized sedan.
A little to the detriment of the film, honestly.
Actually, yeah, because the book like just ends, and you're like, "What the hell did I just read?" You start going back through it, like, did I miss something? Did they explain something? And no, it's just a story.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to know everything, and that kind of makes it more of a powerful message.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't know this just happened. It's things can just happen to you all of a sudden, and there's nothing you can do, and it'll take you out, and you need to enjoy your life while you can.
Yeah.
Not everything has to have an explanation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moses Magnum, what was your initial thought on Sandcastle?
What Oz said. My initial thought though was like, what when I see the movie and how it looks, visually, not story wise, and you go to this comic after, I'm like, oh, like, but from coming from a comics background and this being an international comic for one, and independent, like, you got used to it real quick. Once the story took me, I was in. But the first few pages, I was like, yeah. But the comic itself, it's like, yeah, this is why I hate adaptations. Like, even though I enjoyed this movie, like, there's still like a half hour that the movie could have of better moments of done things that they did that were just done better in the comic. If you would have focused on these, you kind of would have cared about these characters a little more, maybe, or just made more interesting characters. Like the you add a calcium deficiency to a chick that in the comic doesn't have it, right? And
that you add a chick from in the movie that isn't in the comic. Like there's not
right.
that trophy wife calcium deficient character is
right.
added, which is
Now,
it feels very Hollywood edition.
Right. And look, she was in Lovecraft Country. She's good actress. She's aesthetically pleasing to the eye for a Hollywood movie. I can see why they did that. And then the terrifying part is that she turns ugly because of her calcium. Like that's a terrifying. Whereas that equivalent of that character is like really just watching people age and coming to terms with her death as a process. And and that's the horrifying part for that equivalent character. And it's everybody, this is the perfect example. Like, we need to make a video series of Lost in adaptation and really dissect where, like, even though they're good movies, this is where they fail in creating these aspects of these characters. I actually saw Derek H from chat today. He came for a haircut. He says hi, and we were talking about this, and he's like, "Let me guess, you're gonna be mad that it's not like the comic." And I go, "Honestly, I haven't read the comic yet. At the time, I hadn't read it, but I'm like, I kind of at the moment, I was like, I think I'm glad that I saw the movie first because I liked the movie, and I don't think the comic's gonna be any good. Like I had only seen the art at the time, and then I read it today, and it's like, wow, like yeah, this is why I hate. I told Emily like this is why I hate adaptations. Like the moral of the story is, hey, you only have a limited amount of time before you know it. Everything you love is gone, or you're gone.
Right.
And you got to enjoy it. They could have all just had a good time at the beach building sandcastles. Yeah, and that's the thing. The movie at least had a sandcastle in it.
Yeah, I'll give it that. I'll give it that.
The problem with the movie is, and I don't know if this is Shyamalan or maybe some executives stepped in. It feels like it had to have a happy ending, sort of. I mean, somebody gets away, the whole thing gets shut down. Whereas I think, honestly, if they would have ended it like the book, where we're spoiling, right?
Yeah,
where everybody is just dead in this beach, and then you get the twist of this was all an experiment to test out drugs and stuff, but you don't shut it down. Like nobody knows about this, and you just see the next group coming in to the island. I think would have been a way better ending than we're gonna escape and shut the place down. Like it feels like that was tacked on. Like some executives said, no, that's too depressing. Which
right.
I also kind of find it hard to believe because I believe Shyamalan paid for, like, he funded this movie.
Yeah, but it's all about distribution and who you're under contract with. I do
also do test marketing because there's very likely a version of this film where everyone does die.
I want the Shyamalan cut.
And you take it to the to viewing for the test markets, and people are like, I hate it, and they're like, well, everyone hates
Little Shop of Horrors.
Say that happened to Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah, like she was supposed to get eaten at the end.
There you go. Yeah.
Where were these people with snake eyes?
Well, and that's the beauty of marketing is that they find a demographic. They think they had the demographic pegged, and they're like, yeah, they don't care about this. Even the horror. This is like the way they look at old and the way what they gave you is like, oh, this is for the horror movie market. Just give it to them. It's like they probably never even heard of the comic,
Which is true.
But you know what? Even if you're going for the horror crowd, I mean
it's not horror now.
The horror thing, the Jason, the Michael Myers is always alive at the end.
Right, but the thing is, this isn't
sequel potential.
This is more of like the where you're trying to make horror movies that are also good movies. Like your Hereditaries, your Midsummers. Like this is along those lines. These are art films that happen to be a little bit horrifying or thrilling.
So like a mid-size horror.
Yeah. If Larry would actually sit down and watch Midsummer like I told him to, he would see like Midsummer. You can actually just watch frame by frame and look at every frame as a painting, and that painting will tell you the story just looking at that still picture. It's a beautifully made movie, and aside from the horror, if you don't look at the horror, it's just a just beautiful Renaissance painting, like in motion. It's amazing. It's an achievement in cinema, and the fact that it's horror is another like a layer of amazingness. Joe can agree with me. I don't know. Joe looks like he's like, yeah, that's the shit. I love it.
No, there's still the blood, like the period blood that she put into his lemonade, like.
Yeah, but that's not new. Mexicans have been doing that for ages.
Joe, speaking of period blood, what happened to your microphone?
I switched the microphone to the red one.
Like,
Period blood.
it started popping up and it's red. I'm like, what are we in a horror movie?
No, I switched to the red one. I was hoping it would help with sound quality. Apparently, it does not.
Like it came up slowly too. It was creepy me out. You do sound better.
Red Rocket.
You do sound better though. I'll give you that. You do sound better. It's a better microphone.
Oh, that's too funny, man.
If I can add something to the period blood in the lemonade, that is the color theory in that scene is impeccable.
No, it's great. Like,
Yeah, like, the way it just goes in and mixes, like,
yeah, I just don't want to watch stills of it. Like, I watched stills of that guy breaking his legs. Like, that was fun.
yeah. No, but even like there's a scene when they're talking, trying to get permission to write the paper, and they're walking from one point to another. But you're watching the people talking what they're doing. But if you actually pause it and look at what the people are doing in the background, it's like, oh, they're gonna sacrifice these motherfuckers. Like, there's literally like an effigy of like a kid. There's kids playing with like a wooden goat, and they're like chopping their head off. Like in the background, off in the corner. It's amazing. It's a fantastic movie. I wish he would have made old Ari. What is it? Ari Schaefer or whatever his name is.
I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
I love the sense of humor.
Yeah.
That is a funny motherfucker there.
Oh yeah. Because that movie, like, it's humorous horror. It's horrifying humorous.
Right.
Bringing it back to
And not just
Sandcastle.
the guy breaking is humorous.
Oh, jeez. So Sandcastle, the like with the comic, and of course going back to the movie and stuff, it's like, what are the biggest, or what is it? Because I feel basically the same way you all do, in the sense that, I thought the comic was awesome, like the graphic novel, and and while I can agree, like, the art isn't the best art, you're right. Like, it doesn't matter, because the story becomes, at least for me, it became so compelling that it was like, but don't get me wrong. Like, I wish I could get a version of that story that was like drawn by Fiona Staples, you know what I'm saying, or something like that. Like, that would be like super cool, just to see
I know.
how someone like that would like frame some of those
Look,
scenes.
That's Midsummer right there.
The only thing I really had a problem with was the opening panels. Like, when they're trying to show the beach, I don't feel they do a good job of like showing the beach.
Like, you don't necessarily know what you're looking at first.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. That happened with me as well. I was like, what is that?
And
What is that? I'm like, oh, it's a cove or something.
That's where the movie succeeded, where it's like they show you like every angle and with detail, like special effects, practical effects. Like, it's a beautiful looking scenery every time they show you this transition shot, and you get a sense that you're in the middle of that, where you can't really get out unless you know how to get out. Yeah.
So I know for me, I think one of the main points that, or I guess one of the main things that I liked in the comic that was completely missing from the film was the character of the science fiction writer. And I really felt like that character was like important to have. And because, again, I understood that this was going to be an adaptation. I was fully prepared for people to be like recast and different. Like, it didn't surprise me when there was no, Algerian, and it was like a black guy instead. Like, that wasn't surprising to me. However, I did not know that he was going to be a rapper named Midside Sedan. Like, that took me off. Oh yeah, I was like, wow. I'm like, okay, I never would have in a million years guessed that. But one of the things I was looking forward to was seeing like, oh, how are they going to interpret this writer? Because I was thinking like, well, maybe they won't make him a science fiction writer, but maybe they'll make him a writer anyway, or maybe they'll do like a philosopher or something like that. But where that character was completely absent, I was like, wow, like I feel like you kind of need that character. And obviously they felt like you need a character like it, or well, you need at least the exposition because you get the diary.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
you
And
know,
the theory is that because everybody has to have a theory that well, first of all, Mephisto. Let's get that out of the way.
yes.
But no, I heard people saying that they think that the Notebook is left over from the science fiction writer, or that that's supposed to replace the science fiction writer.
Yeah.
Some people think
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I think.
Shyamalan himself is a science fiction writer because the writer's thing in the book was to kind of give theories as to what may be happening in this island,
Mhm.
and Shyamalan straight up tells you what happens in his island. So
Wait, so are people actually going out and like buying Sandcastle and reading it?
no, they're just talking about the movie. They don't know it's a book.
Oh, that's
Like,
wild.
No, they have to know if they're mentioning the science fiction writer.
Right.
Yeah, but they're not gonna read it.
You're being
They're
prejudiced.
No, but
these YouTubers have writers that probably Wikipedia'd it to see what characters were in the book.
Yeah,
But
I can see that.
I go to a lot of YouTube pages and talk crap about how their writers are crap because they said something wrong.
But I feel like that we mentioned the journal, like that takes the place of the science fiction writer, but also they added the psychologist or the therapist.
Hilarious. Yeah, the psychologist, she was hilarious.
But she kind of like adds more of that human element, like what they're going through because of their age and the aging process and how we can kind of cope. And as a she's a shitty therapist because she could have been like, hey, we only have a certain amount of time. Let's just spend it like doing good things. Like, let's just have a good time right here on the beach.
I mean, she wasn't. If you're not getting paid, you're not going to give you all your knowledge.
Plus,
Well, but she's gonna die. But getting paid doesn't mean anything. Money doesn't mean anything when you're about to die.
It does to some people.
No,
just have different schools of thought and philosophies and different ways that they treat problems.
yeah.
So
Half of them just ask the right questions so that you can fix it yourself.
right, like she definitely wasn't fuck, I can't remember that school of. All right, never mind. Right.
Jungian.
No, there's a wellness,
Oh,
like the therapist that specializes in mindfulness.
mindfulness. Yeah.
That if she was like one of those therapists, like she definitely would have. But she's obviously not because of like what she's trying to do, like because of how she's reacting. I could tell she's not a mindfulness therapist.
Not only that, but she's also stuck in it with them too. So she's having her own. She has to make peace with her own mortality before she can even try to treat any of them in their grieving processes of their own lives. But yeah, no, mindfulness is probably my favorite school of thought because I'm such a narcissist, but I want to seem like I'm good.
Yeah, and it's interesting because do we find out in the comic what that character, like that character,
Don't do anything.
do we find out their profession?
No.
The guy is a nurse. We don't find out her profession though.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
And the sci-fi writer is her dad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Know how they choose to live their final moments.
Yeah, dude, and that's the thing. Like, I was like that in the comic. That couple of which is the nurse and the therapist in the movie, but she's not a therapist, or we don't know that she's a therapist in the comic. Like that couple, and how they actually like do spend their, like how they decide to end things was really powerful. And like they use it in the movie, but it feels diminished
Yeah.
You know, where I'm just like they literally took a good idea from the book and made it worse. And I'm just like, wow, like that's messed up. Like, don't get me wrong, I get it. It's like, and it's one of those things too where like I would have felt, I know for a fact I would have felt completely different about it if I had watched the movie first and read the book after. But it's like one of those things where I don't feel bad for feeling that way because it's like M. Night Shyamalan read the book. Like
Yeah.
in my mind, it's like, you know that that's a powerful moment. That's why you wanted to have something similar. But why would you like
I don't think he read that much of the book.
you're so silly, man.
Like the book had a powerful ending with
It did.
the child
Yeah.
surrounded by the dead bodies of everybody they've known and just the sandcastle.
I
Yeah.
think that was one of my most hated moments was when they decided to kill the baby.
Yeah.
I do like how they did it. Because it's been proven that if you don't pay attention, like if you don't give babies affection, they die. They just give up. So that was kind of cool. But I actually do like the thought of that child just growing up and like her whole life is that island.
Right. Yeah. But you can't do that because of the whole his little twist of the experimentation. Like those people would come in, right?
Yeah. No. They wouldn't come in. They just let them all die out, and they're flies. They're essentially flies. And I've been a big proponent that the fate of humanity is the fate of flies. We're only here for a brief amount of time, and we're just living in our own shit and dying. And this kind of like that's it. Like if they produce a kid in that, they're just gonna observe it and see what happens. Look, what if this kid evolved to adapt to this time? So they would observe it. They wouldn't fuck with it. They would observe it and then make the Truman Show.
Like, how wild would it be just to have watched the movie with that kid being alive and just being like, I mean, obviously the kid would have been alive long enough to like know their parents to a degree, but that's literally all that kid would have known. And what's that like when that like I would have loved to see like what that would be like when that kid gets older.
If I'm gonna make an adaptation and just not like follow the comic, like I would just make the movie about that kid. Like, the day where that kid wakes up and everybody's dead, and he reads the diary that the sci-fi writer left because he's you know what? I got 1 day left to live. I'm just gonna write a diary of every moment, and just do that, and then still add the twist about the medicine thing. Like,
Let me ask, how do you guys feel about that? Like, not how it was done, but the thought of like they are leading people to death, but they are also creating like these life-saving medicines. Like I get to say they're doing it for the greater good because you should definitely ask people before you sentence them to death. But they do end up with like a medicine that basically cures you of seizures.
Right.
Like from this particular group. So
right.
How do you guys feel like about what they are doing?
I think that's the Democrats trying to get Trumpers to get vaccinated. Like it's subliminal messaging and program.
I mean, it's not the Trumpers that aren't getting vaccinated.
That's not true.
That's totally true. New York, 40% of the people aren't vaccinated. Trump only got 40% of the vote there.
Yeah, and 40% of the vote went to Trump there.
No, 20. So 40 aren't vaccinated. Only 20 went to Trump. And it's mostly minorities not getting vaccinated.
Look, you never talked to a Puerto Rican? They don't like Hillary Clinton.
I mean, listen, it's like I will say that the part of this whole adaptation, I think that's like the biggest failure for me is the twist that Shyamalan comes up with for this movie is an interesting premise, and I would love to watch that movie. I just don't want it on top of Sandcastle. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you should totally like read Sandcastle and you come up with that premise in your mind because you're like, hey, why would this be there? Or what would, if that was there, what would people use it for? And make a different movie? Like I would watch that movie and be happy to watch it because I think the premise is interesting. As far as like the morality of it, you know, I mean that's what makes it interesting because it's like it's literally a situation where you're like, you know, do the ends justify the means? Like, you know, if I kill a dozen to save 12,000 or to save, you know, 1,000,000, like am I really a tyrant? Am I really evil? And you know, I guess it depends on who you're asking, right? If you're asking the father of the daughter who would have died from the epileptic fits if they didn't get that medicine, you'd be like, hey, no, like that's a worthy sacrifice. But if you're asking, you know, the mother of the kid on the island that can't get off, that's gonna age through their entire life in a day and a half, she's like, no. Right? So, and I think, you know, I know for me personally, like I'm not gonna sign off on sacrificing any one individual without them wanting that to be the case. Like, you know, involuntarily, I'm not gonna be like, oh, to get medicine, I'm not gonna sign off on that. But
my biggest problem with, because this is something that's happened. It's not, you know, this isn't theoretical. This, I mean, not the aging stuff, obviously, but the experimenting on people against their will has happened. And the question is always, because there's no question that it needs to be shut down. That is never, like, everybody agrees, okay, that it's wrong, stop it. The real question then becomes, what do you do with the research? And some people want to get rid of it because of the way it was obtained. At that point, I think, look, if this research could save lives, even though it was the way it was gotten was ill and evil, throwing it away and discarding it, I think, is also like makes all that in vain.
Yeah,
you know,
I agree.
People suffered for nothing at that point. At least let their deaths mean something. Let something good come out of it. Stop what was happening, because that's evil too. But let's take advantage of the information that could help others. You know, it's kind of like an organ donation thing. You know, like if you're gonna die, whatever killed you was probably something evil, but let something good come out of it.
Right.
That's always the question I see whenever something like this crops up throughout history.
I'm still thinking about 20% of the vote going for Trump.
You are hilarious.
But then they also say that it was stolen vote.
Dude, the least vaccinated population is Black people.
Yeah, I believe it.
And they're the most that voted for Biden.
Yeah, but no, look, it's also they're also the least likely to trust the white man, you know, aside from Native Americans. All right, so you know, let's not forget about that.
I'm just saying the numbers. It's not all Trump.
They're also the most religious people too. They're the ones most likely to believe in God. So you know,
I mean,
there's
at
a
the
lot
end of the
of
day, if a third of the cases are coming from 2 states,
right,
then that means the most people that or the people from those states are where most of the people that aren't getting vaccinated, because everything else from
Says,
the
I do
country.
what now?
Say again?
Black Compass says, I do what now?
Oh, I don't know what that's in reference to.
that's because I said I believe in God.
Oh.
I choose to think she doesn't, but you know, but it's up to her, man. You know, it's all good. I'm just saying, it's
I choose to believe she doesn't trust Whitey either.
Yeah, I mean nobody does really. Like Oz does. That's why he's getting in line with them, because I got to keep my enemy close.
Oh, that's too funny.
Like, I didn't hear a no.
Okay, so
I still don't hear it.
So going back to Sandcastle, I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, it's kind of just like the comic doesn't give you any explanation. It doesn't tell you what's happening necessarily there or why it's happening. Well, it tells you what's happening. It tells you people are aging. But and that's the thing too, where it's like I feel like the comic focuses more in on the fact that it's solely about aging, and that's it. Like there are people that have conditions that get exacerbated because of their aging, but you don't have all of the like you don't have the malady kind of stuff that's happening to people like you do in the movie. And it's literally just like, people like this is strange, and like trying to wrap their minds around what's happening to them, and once they finally wrap their minds around it, how they deal with it, how they all choose to cope. And yeah, like it's kind of beautiful in just how in its own simplicity,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just a story. It doesn't owe you an explanation. It the only thing it owes you is it's going to keep you entertained. It's going to keep your attention, and it does that.
Yeah.
Instead of an explanation, it gives you the moral, which is like, yeah, just build the fucking Sandcastle because it's just gonna blow away when the tide comes in, just like your life.
I didn't even get that.
Yeah, they're like, this is not on level, man.
I read it and I get to that last page. I'm like, man, that's messed up.
Yeah, like the kid. What did the kid the kid that was left and watched everybody die? What did he do? To build the Sandcastle. Because that's it. That's all we are, just dust in the wind, man. As are the days of our lives. One life to live. Yeah, like that's just it, man. We're just here. We just living in between blinks, man. We blink when we wake up out of our mother's pussy, and we blink when we go down to die.
Wait, what?
I'm adding the horror twist to it, Larry.
Oh,
Actually,
Also, you get slapped as soon as you come out.
like I would be so grateful if we could not use the term "mother's pussy" again, like ever.
Look, that's the title of this episode.
oh no. Well, it was a fun run.
Never tell me what you don't want. Okay? You should know me by now.
First thing in life is
Say mother's milk, and I can't say mother's pussy.
Speaking of, I did want to mention the parents dying did make me sad, like both times.
Oh yeah,
Like that was beautiful and sad and relevant to me now.
yeah. It made me think about my mom's unvaccinated ass. Like she could just go like that saying. The wrong tide comes in, she's gone.
get her vaccinated.
I agree with Jay and his period, Mike.
What'd you say, Oz?
Get your mom vaccinated, man.
She don't want to. She's she's not. She hates Trump. She's part of that other 20% that believes in God and doesn't trust the white man.
It is the Trump vaccine. You're right. He did make it.
He takes credit for it, and he got vaccinated. So at least 20% of those cocksuckers should have it. Yeah.
So what are we gonna rate these?
5 out of 5, both from me. I did enjoy the movie, and I like seeing Shyamalan do the Shyamalan things. I like how he has an old school style of making movies, the Hitchcock style. And this is what I like to see. There was his problems, but I enjoyed it thoroughly. And I in the topic of time and the theme of time, it wasn't a waste of my time to watch it.
That's fair. Oz, what would you rate Sandcastle and Old?
Sandcastle 4. I mean, it's just a good story. I wish the art was better, but that's just like Mo said. Once you really get a few pages in, you don't even notice it as much. So yeah, 4. The movie, I'm gonna say 3.5. It's not necessarily a bad movie. It's just I'm done with Shyamalan. And I've been done with him for a while, and so I feel like my problems with this movie are just my problems because of how I feel about him.
Got it. Jay, how about you? Sandcastle and Old.
Both get a 4.5 from me. The movie had a couple of missteps, but nothing too bad. And interestingly enough, one of my bigger issues with the movie went away on my second viewing.
Which was what?
The way they choose to not show the kids, like when they first start aging, like the first time I watched it, it was really awkward. Like the way they frame the kids so that you can't see them being aged, like, is really awkward.
Yeah. They didn't want to find an in-between actor.
Right. But the second time didn't really bother me that much. But
I actually like that. I felt like that was a creative way of doing it, because in the comic you can see them aging, but it's a little like I didn't see the panel when they actually aged. When I went back and looked at it and just looked at it without reading it, I can see the artist doing that, but I missed it on the first go.
But they mentioned it, like they start talking about, hey, why is this
like it's a visual medium. I want to see it as they tell it, because comics tell you as they're showing you. And I missed it. It's just how I'm what, left brain dominant or whatever the fuck. You know, that's
the word thing. I mean, you missed that part of the story. I missed the moral. I mean, we're gonna miss something the first time.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, you're right. I'm left brain dominant. You're no brain dominant.
That's because my whole brain is powerful.
Yeah,
and yeah,
and located in my brain.
Like I thought the comic was really good, really well done. I like there's a lot of little things that a little, like the little details, like the father talking about like how their swimsuits are like way too small.
Yeah.
And the wife like, I just bought them. I bought them big because I know to grow into them. And there's just like a lot of little stuff throughout that like makes it like a really good experience. Like honestly, this is the kind of book like when you read it, I would like this could benefit from an adaptation.
Yeah.
But then you get old and it's like, well, I mean, old is great, but a more straight, like a more straight adaptation would have done, I think, really well.
As a with the general audience, you mean, or you just mean it would have just been a good movie?
No, just for me. Like,
okay,
I think it would have been, yeah, for us. Like, I think it would have been like following the movies, like, or following the book more closely.
Yeah,
I think would have been like a better experience, like at least for us. And for the book's shortcomings, I think they would have an adaptation would have covered them. But overall, like I just really like these two. The movie, the book, I really like them. I've watched the movie twice. I've read the book 2.5 times. Like they're just enjoyable to me, and I hope that this movie does bring some more exposure to the book, because the book deserves it.
Yeah. So, real quick, I'll go ahead and say that my rating, I'll give Old a 3, and Sandcastle I give 4.5. And really, the only thing that I'll give it why 0.5 is because the art. Like I want to see that. Like I like the story so much, I want to see it like redone with a different artist. Which it sucks because I feel bad, like because the artist isn't bad. I just want to see like somebody that can do like I don't want to say like photorealistic, but better expressions and things like
American style comics is what you want.
that. I mean, it doesn't have to be American
Oh, it
style.
does. It does. Because this is your French European style, your cartoonists. This
Right.
is your Je suis Charlie. Because they don't show you the background while they're talking because you're focusing on the characters, whereas American comics show you the background because they're just showing you every panel has to be like a piece of art, you know?
Right. Right. But I don't need like backgrounds. Like I have no problem with just the characters. I just want it in a way that is probably less cartoony. That like yeah, and that's what it is. It's like I do want it less cartoony, but because I feel like I guess in my mind I associate a certain visual with a certain level of drama, I guess, and that's just a personal preference. It's not like it needs to be that way because obviously this was highly enjoyable, despite that thought in my own head. So, but I would love to see a version of it. Like, let's put it like this: like I like the I have no problem spending money on Sandcastle as is, but I would buy another version of it with Fiona Staples art, and spend an extra $2. So but yeah, man, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. All right, should we do Heavy Metal Minute? And
We don't have a Metal Minute today.
Oh, okay, cool. So should we just jump
That's
to
hiatus. Fractional Forever hiatus.
Oh, Fracture for okay. I'm sorry. Like, then should we just jump into Sonjaversal, or do we need to no video?
No. I mean, no. I'm sharing a video that we can do while we're doing the recap of the story.
Oh,
and
okay.
It's a montage of the covers. That's up there, but we can just start going into it.
All right. And just FYI, I may drop off, fellas. So I'm gonna hang in here as long as I can.
All right.
All right.
Well, Joe, man, why don't you play this montage and tell us what Sonjaversal is?
Okay. So Sonjaversal is Death Sonja is worried about the Sonjas not keeping to their end of the bargain that they made with their god. And so she pits them together, or pits them against each other as a form of penance. And so when they get to Red Sonja, she starts killing like whoever they send against her. And she ends up traveling to hell to put a stop to Death Sonja once and for all. And she's joined by other Sonjas in a like battle royale type fight, which eventually leads to a clash between Death Sonja and them and a eldritch beast, which is like taking the energy from their devotion to their gods instead of the gods they pledged to. So that's the first arc of Sonjaversal.
Yeah. So, what was your initial takes on all of these? What do you think of Sonjaversal, Joe?
Oh, it is amazing. Like, I love the different Sonjas. I think Lacrosse Sonja is my favorite.
Of course she is.
Yeah, like I love me some battle royale, death sports. And I think the one thing I like the most about this book that we have yet to get from any of the Sonja books we've read is lore, which I really enjoyed finally getting some lore on Sonja. That was a real treat for me.
Do we not get lore in other Sonja books? Like, I
He
mean,
he doesn't have any lore because he's only
oh,
read the stuff
what
we
we read
reviewed on the show.
recently.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
That's what I said, right?
you said we've read.
For the show. I meant
Right.
for the show. That we've read for the show,
Right.
Oh, okay.
but no lore.
Got it.
But yeah,
Okay.
I know Mo knows the lore because he's like a huge fan.
Not a
Yeah.
huge fan, but I enjoy it. I enjoy the genre, the sword and sorcery, pre written history, humanity type thing.
Yeah. Oz, how about you, man? What was your take on Sonjaversal?
I like this Loki Sonja thing. Yeah, and
Spider Verse.
Sonja and the Multiverse of Madness.
It's Spider Verse.
But I also like that the main Sonja is like the chosen Sonja, that like she's taken out hundreds of other Sonjas by the time we get to her in this book. I like the secondary story with her and the dude. What was his name? Like with
Warwick.
Yeah.
That was like actually kind of a powerful story in itself. Like, if you just made a book of that story, it'd be like, oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you make that the backdrop for what's happening in this battle royale, and not only that, but like make that her motivation for hunting down who's responsible, like why this is happening. Just made it great. Loved it.
Cool. Moses Magnum. What was your take? Sonjaversal.
It was better than I thought it'd be. It's fine, but it's too modern for what I would like. I like stories of a simpler time. Yeah, in without technology and shit. That's what attracts me most about. Look, that's kind of why I like like Lord of the Rings and shit too, because it's like it's a almost like a part of humanity before what we know in archaeological sense.
Right.
Stuff that has happened possibly before even the dinosaurs, and I like those aspects of it, and I like how it kind of fuels the Conan and Sonja stuff, kind of fuels history in a little bit, and they can play with it. And so adding this whole multiverse thing, like Sonja has well, I want to say Sonja, but like Conan and the Robert E. Howard stuff kind of has dealt with multidimensional parasites and beings and things like that, like Cthulhu and stuff in the past. So there's a precedent for it, but I'm okay with never reading any more of these, even though I enjoy them. Like
issue 6,
I read issue 6, and that's the thing. I thought it was the end, and it's not. It's the start of a new series, and it's like, yeah, okay. I don't need any more Sonjaversal.
Okay, so you didn't like Sonja Noir?
Not really, no, because it wasn't Noir, and it was sword and sorcery and Noir, but not enough of each of either. So it's like it's not doing either of these genres right. So I can see if you like it because you're not a fan of either or as much. You're just a fan of this new thing they created, which is fine. Spend your money where you want.
Right.
Yeah.
I will say that I kind of had a well, I guess my initial reaction is similar to yours, Mo, in the sense that I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. But I think I ended up enjoying it overall more than you did, only because, like I like Red Sonja stories, especially the ones we've been getting lately have been pretty good in my opinion too. However, this was like an interesting take. Like I like this as well. And it's the kind of thing where I'm like, oh man, like I would read more of these. Like I know I got to issue 5 and they tease that next is Sonja Noir, and I'm like, I want to know what that's all about. I didn't get to read issue 6, So I don't, I haven't read it, but I probably will go back and do it just because, yeah, as a concept, um, I enjoy it, and I'm glad too that in the initial arc they kind of like got like the big bad like why all this is happening kind of out the way, and so it feels like it frees up the book to be able to like actually explore different versions of Sonja if they want to, without there necessarily being a multiversal aspect to it, which is, personally I find interesting.
That's exactly what happens in issue 6 because it focuses on just one.
It becomes an anthology series of different
Mm-hmm.
ones. And if they go 6 issues, I mean, this 6 issues I wouldn't stick with after this the issue 6.
Well, this story 5, 6 starts the next one, and it just came out. Like
Right, yeah. I'm talking about 6. 6 sets up the anthology series. So it's essentially the 1 through 5 is the pilot for an anthology series, and it's fine. They could have done it in 3. But
I agree with that.
That's part of the detriment that I felt was it's just too drawn out with nothing. Like, yeah, and so you kick off an anthology series, and I'll just pick and choose. Like, if I see a Sonja that intrigues me, I'm in. Kind of like, I mean, we saw Spider-Gwen take off from a series similar to that. They had their event, and then they had side stories. And you pick and choose what you like. Here it was all, part. I would have liked it better if it was just self-contained, and then we go back to what I'm used to and I like.
And I will say that while I do agree with you that it could have been done in 3 issues, I think that it was done well in 5. I don't feel like it didn't feel bloated. It didn't feel bloated. It just felt like they gave the characters a chance to breathe, like some of the other versions of Sonja. And we could have had less of that and done it in less issues, but it didn't feel like drawn out like some like Marvel crossover events can sometimes, where you're like, this whole issue didn't, like, you just decided that we needed to have like 8 issues, but really the story takes place over like 5 issues. What I mean?
Half the time, the 8 issue thing is because they can't get the artist to finish it on time.
Yeah. Jay, you said Lacrosse Sonja is your favorite. What is it about Lacrosse Sonja that makes you really like enjoy that particular Sonja?
She just feels the most quirky and offbeat to me. It's like
that's because she's Lacrosse Sonja, Joe.
Right. Like, you have all these other warriors, killers, inventors, like all these other badass like Sonjas, and she's like, I'm just a high schooler. Like, I don't like, why am I here? And then she ends up going out and like kicking ass.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just like her.
Did Lacrosse Sonja take an oath?
They don't say.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Like, I'm really hoping she gets the one shot.
That's fair.
Mary Jane wasn't in
it. Mary Jane?
Yeah. She's a Sonja.
Mary Jane's a Sonja?
I think she's Orange Sonja.
No, she's what happened was through time and archaeology they found the sword, and the museum that Mary Jane was at was being attacked, and she's like, oh God, what am I gonna do? And then the sword came to her, and she harnessed the spirit of the original Red Sonja, and she became Red Sonja from then on for a few issues.
Wait, is this a thing? Like a Dynamite Marvel crossover?
No, 70s when Sonja was a Marvel puppet.
Oh wow!
I need to see that art.
Yeah. No, well, I think it's John Romita, so it's amazing. And then they did a new one that like a modern one, but it's not modern now because I think it's like 12 years old now. And Avon Oming wrote it, and I forget. I think Mark Bagley drew it, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. Cool. Um, Oz, were there any standout Sonias for you?
Regular Sonja.
Okay. That's fair.
I kind of like I like I think she was Orange Sonja, the futuristic, like the one with the guns.
Yeah.
And I thought she was gonna be she's gonna have a bigger role in this story, and then no, she doesn't.
Yeah.
I do like how they interpreted hell as
Oh
like
yeah.
the digestive system for souls.
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah.
makes a lot more sense than what they told me in church.
I like that no matter what time period or type of thing you get, they had to figure out some way to incorporate the like coin armor.
Chainmail. Yeah.
And I was actually like, there's times whenever they would bring in a new Sonja, I'd like, okay, let's look how they did the chainmail on this one. Because now we got steampunk Sonja, we got crazy biker chick Sonja.
Yeah. What about you, Mo? Was there a Sonja? I know you know the original is the same, you know, your Sonja, but which one did you like the best outside of the original?
I like Scarlet Sonja the best.
She's
the one that killed the dude.
Yeah, she's on
the
panel.
But Scarlet Sonja basically was Red Sonja, but
light,
but redder hair.
No,
more badass.
She wasn't more badass.
Yeah, she was.
She was defeated by Red Sonja.
Because the badassiness is a distraction. So that Red Sonja was fighting for love now. Yeah. She's more focused. Look, just because you're more focused doesn't mean you're stronger or better. You're just more focused. That one was more what Red Sonja should have been when dealing with Warwick. Because she don't need to be. What she need a man for? Yeah. Not gonna have no kids. She don't trust the world she's like fighting in to have kids. Well, she's gonna be out for 9 months while there's like threats coming to the planet and shit. Like, yeah, she don't need no man.
By the way, that book you mentioned,
and she gotta let him win all the time, like just so that she could be okay with fucking him. Like, that's not funny.
She didn't let him. He legitimately won.
Like the first time, but she let him. She let him. That's how she lost the worthiness.
No, she lost the worthiness because she knew he wasn't going to be able to keep it up and decided to retire. That was the thing. Once you retire, the god doesn't get any more souls from my hands. But that's the exact page I was looking at, by the way. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I need to look up this book.
I saw the splash page, but it was like gift.
If you could find the modern one, the Michael Avon Oming one, he didn't do the art. I forget who did the art, but that looks cool too because there's a Michael Turner cover, and that's amazing. R.I.P. Michael Turner. Yeah.
So, Jay, I mean, are you planning on continuing reading Red or Sonjaversal?
Yeah, I bought issue 6. I just haven't had a chance to read it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think this is my Sonja book.
Yeah, because you weren't as big of a fan of the other ones.
I was surprised he even brought this up, but once I read it, I was like, "Oh, okay," because it's not.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going through I'm reading Red Sonja. Like, I've bought a bunch of them, and I was just trying to find one that I resonated with, and this happened to be one of them. And I'm actually still buying and reading Invincible Red Sonja. So,
what you should read is Red Sonja versus Mars Attacks.
It's in my wish list.
Versus Mars Attacks, like the Mars Attacks.
Yeah, like the aliens land, the Martians land in her land, and she gets hired to fuck with these fucking Martians.
I mean, do they look like the movie ones with the brain?
Yeah. They're based on comics and cards from the 60s, so they look like those. And the movie actually looked like those. So
now, why do you like that crossover, Mo? Like, doesn't that? Like, I understand it's like still the the ancient lands or whatever.
Yeah, it's ancient lands, and she's dealing with an interdimensional threat. Like that's typical
Wow.
for Red Sonja. like
Okay.
even that one, like once she explained like the interdimensional like parasite thing in this Sonjaversal, like none of them said, "Oh, that's odd,"
Yeah.
because they all deal with that. Yeah, like she
But
didn't have.
a quick question: has Mary Jane been every hero? Because I've seen Mary Jane Iron Man.
Yeah, she was Iron Man for a little bit. She's been Silver Surfer for like an issue.
She was Silver Surfer.
Yeah. Well, no. What happened was Silver Surfer was dying, and he went to visit the people he had teamed up with, and Spider Man was one of them. And he says, "I'm gonna give you a gift. You can travel the galaxy at light speed. You can be everywhere at once, whatever, and see what I see." And he said, "You know what? I'm gonna give it to Mary Jane because she gets to just watch me go off on these things, but I want to give her this gift." So she became Silver Surfer for 2 seconds, but saw the whole universe.
Man, I want Vampirella Mary Jane. Do we have that?
Cover you were talking about, or no?
That's one of them, but yeah.
That's a cool cover too.
But I don't. Yeah, I don't. That's not the one I seen. But the one I seen looks like a Red Sonja cover, but it's Mary Jane with the sword and the bikini, and it's a Michael Turner one. But because I don't think that's actually because I actually Nia Larry's paramour. That's not right. No. Larry's better half actually bought me as a gift the hardcover. So, and then my dog so lovingly chewed it up. but yeah, it had the Michael Turner cover in it.
Yeah, I can't. I don't think I can find it.
Derek Richard Cat says that must have been so depressing for Mary Jane to have all that power and then have it taken away. She knew she was getting into.
What's her name? Who did something similar?
Who?
What's her name? Lois Lane. When Superman was dying, he gave her some powers for a little bit. And All-Star Superman.
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
Right. Yeah. So, all in all, what are we trying to rate Sonjaversal? What would you say, Oz?
Oh, 4, maybe 4.5, easy.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Oh,
I'm gone.
what happened to Lawrence?
He's dead.
He's like laying down. He's going to bed.
Okay, so Mo, what would you give Sonjaversal?
I easily 4.5 out of 5. Like the first 5 issues were great. It was an enjoyable experience. The ongoing part is where I'm like, it's something else to buy if you want to be a fan of that character. It's just not the execution that I like, but it doesn't matter. It's something for everybody, and if more people could get into Red Sonja, that'd be great. Like I'm down for another movie.
And I would give it a 4.5 out of 5. Like, I love my death sports. I like the lore. I love Lacrosse Sonja. Like, just a great book. So, what is next?
We'll do news, but I'm trying to. Yeah, I'm gonna hit the news music and get your news ready.
Woo! Comic book news.
We should have a like
comic book
like her.
news.
Well, not like that, but like.
Is it news that I watched the Samurai Rabbit trailer?
Yes.
So I watched the Samurai Rabbit trailer, and I am wary of it. Like they've got this young, kind of excitable Usagi, or yeah, Usagi, and I don't know that I like him. And while initially I think the death is okay, it's just in like a thought. So it's just some like thinking about it. Like if it doesn't actually happen in show, then that would be disappointing. And I will mention I only saw the trailer. I didn't watch the panel.
Okay.
So the trailer is not. It makes me wary of the project.
The panel, you should be wary of the project, but the panel makes it a little easier because Sakai's what, like 70 now? It took him this long to like sell out and really like.
That's not true. Like
No, but go ahead.
Like the rights have been like gone forever. Like he's got rid of those like years ago. People have just been holding on to them and not doing anything with it. But yeah, those rights have been long gone. Like I asked him about it, because I wanted to ask him if I could have them if he wasn't doing anything with it. He's like, no, someone always has the rights. Someone always has them. They just never end up doing anything with it, and they're always out for sale.
Hearing him talk about this, I think he likes it, even if it's not what it is. He feels happy about it, And we live in an age now where people can kind of voice their opinions on things that they create and get taken from them. And if that's the case, like if somebody just happens to get him now and he's okay with it, that might be at least a good sign to get you to watch.
I mean, I'm gonna try it at least, and I don't have an issue with the ancestor thing, like how everyone is an ancestor.
Yeah,
Of their person from the main book, like kind of the same thing happened, but not really with Space Usagi.
yeah.
So that's only a little weird. But that one girl, like her character design is the J design. And unfortunately, I kind of fell off like right when she was taking over, like right when she got her niece. When she switched, like right after Usagi killed her, Jay, and then she became possessed. And so I don't actually know what ended up happening with her.
Okay.
Tiger Claw wants to know what we thought of the new Venom Let There Be Carnage trailer.
I was gonna bring that up because I watched it twice. Once without volume, and I was excited. I'm like, wow. Like I don't like that Venom talks to Eddie.
Talks crap to Eddie too.
I don't like that dynamic they choose to do. Like I don't like it. And that takes me out of it. That makes me like. Emily showed me a video of when we went to see it in the theater, and we went early because I don't like people. And first showing, and it was me. It was literally me and like 11, 10-year-old boys lined up to see Venom that early on a Sunday. And when they opened the doors, the kids started running. And I started running. I'm like, "Fuck you, little kid! I'm getting the best seat." Like I was excited. And then the movie did what it did. And you can hit the link here for the review of that of the movie. But and here I kind of felt like, man, I'm getting excited for this shit, and then I hear Venom talking like, ah. So it looked great. Cassidy Carnage looked great, but I just can't. They might even make a good movie. I just don't like Venom talking. Like that voice sucks. That dynamic sucks. That Eddie Brock sucks. Especially like now we've got like Eddie Brock and Venom relationship like straight up. Like that's a comic thing now. And it's just done so cool that the movie is not gonna work for me.
I need to know why Venom freaks out that Carnage is red. Because in the trailer, he's like, "Oh shit, a red one," and like freaks the fuck out. I'm like, "Wait, what?
Yeah,
this is a thing."
I think that's just for the trailer. It's not even going to be in the movie.
Yeah, probably. Because I assume he's red.
Different colors.
What's that?
All of his kids were different colors.
Yeah,
but I mean, in the movie, I assume he's red because of the way he comes into being.
Well, in the comic too. Like even the way that, like, Eddie wears Venom as clothes, whereas Cletus has him in his blood. It actually comes out through his pores because he came in through essentially a transfusion in a sense, not an official one, of course, but it was an open wound with the symbiote going into the bloodstream. So that's why he looks very cardiovascular.
I think in this movie they're going with he bites him like the spider bit the same spot that the spider bites Peter Parker, but instead it like goes into Cletus,
into his digestive system.
Yeah.
But he bites him in the hand, not in the clothes, which is odd. Yeah.
Well, I think movie Venom it's in his system too, in his blood system.
Right, which then it doesn't make sense that it's red and black.
Yeah.
But we already know what to expect. If I decide to go to the theater and deal with this fucking movie, I know what I'm putting myself through. It's my own fucking fault, and I think I'm gonna do it. I think I love that special effect for Carnage. It looks fucking. Growing up watching Mark Bagley draw Carnage in the Maximum Carnage event, playing the game, and seeing it like in motion, like I'm getting teary-eyed right now. Like I never thought I'd live to see this shit, and as fucked up and pretty as it's gonna be, I'm gonna experience it in all its fucking shitty glory.
You think Carnage is gonna talk to Cletus?
I hope
Brock and Venom.
I hope not. Like, what kind of voice would he even have?
It would have to be what's his face, the actor, like, because Venom is Tom Hardy.
Is it Tom Hardy doing that? Like,
yeah, it was in the first movie at least. I don't see why he wouldn't do it for the second.
That's even worse.
They should get what's his name, fucking Rorschach to do the voice.
Well, look, he should have been Carnage, period. But
yeah.
But yeah.
At least we could get him to be the voice.
But yeah, Carnage doesn't need a voice. Carnage doesn't have a voice. It's like infused into his blood cells. Like Cletus was just waiting for the opportunity to be Carnage. It's really just Cletus unhinged, more so, uninhibited.
Well, fortunately, we haven't seen anything of Carnage talking, and Cletus doesn't say we; he says I.
Yeah, and that's actually from the comics too. Venom, we are Venom, and I am Carnage. Like that's a telling sign that they might be on the right track for Cletus at least.
Jay, you happy that Carnage is red?
Say again?
Are you satisfied with the color of Carnage?
Yeah, he looks. The color shows a lot better in this trailer.
I think he's supposed to be like meat colored. Like
it kind of the original Carnage was black and red. There was a lot of black, but later on they show him as mainly red, especially like one of Joe's favorite series, Carnage USA. He's more just red and the shadows kind of make the black, and which is fine. Like it looked cool. Like when Clayton Crane was drawing that, it looked amazing. And I feel they used a lot of Clayton Crane's influence for this, at least for the trailer, if not for the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I like Clayton Crane art.
Okay, so it sounds like we're all gonna enjoy it.
Look, I'm gonna enjoy hating it,
Wow.
but I'm gonna enjoy something about it.
I don't know about enjoy, but I am gonna watch it.
I'm still gonna mow down a bunch of little kids to get the best seat. So I'm down.
They don't have assigned seating.
For that one, they didn't back then. Now I probably have to rent out the half of the theater at least. I don't know what they're doing now.
I think but there's two theaters here. One had assigned seating, and the one that didn't, once the pandemic hit, they went to assigned seating.
Yeah,
I would expect more theaters to go with that.
Yeah,
I could actually.
In New York, even before all this pandemic stuff, they had these little weird booths where you almost had a bed. It was like a little egg pod, and you have a couch that you watch a movie in, and nobody can, like, you're like 8 feet away from the nearest pod, not the nearest person. You know,
they have that where you're at too. Well, I don't know if it's still in business, but there was a theater in Pasadena that like practically had beds.
Yeah,
you get your own pod, and it's like $25 a ticket too. But
Derek H in chat says, you nerds are complaining that they didn't match the original CMYK ink values from the comic book. No,
that's not what we're doing at all.
I just thought he didn't look very red in
the trailer.
Right.
Yeah, he was
in the original trailer. In this trailer, he actually looked red.
Right.
And the other one, he looked copper. And it's not even the values. It's just not what Carnage looked like. He looked more like, what is it? What's the other? Scream? The orange and yellow one?
I forgot the
one. I think it was Scream.
That's why Jay got his Carnage mic out specifically for this story.
Yeah. It's not a period mic. It's a Carnage mic.
Let there be period. I still hate that name, though.
It's not good.
Yeah. They should have just called it Maximum Carnage. Like, they're just calling it Venom without it having to be anything related to a spider. Yeah.
Like Carnage.
Yeah. Jay, I'm sharing a picture here, and it's that Michael Turner cover I was talking about. Could bring that up before we go into another story.
You want me to do it?
Yeah, I can't. I shared it, but you put it. Yeah, there you
go. Okay.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And I guess it was a Dynamite thing. It wasn't. Well, I guess the 70s one was when Marvel had it. But when they brought it back, was a Dynamite thing.
Now it has to be a crossover, so you got both.
Yeah.
Nice.
Is that the same story? Is that Mary Jane also, or is that?
Yeah. No, that's the same. The Mary Jane. And the ones that you showed were the covers too, but this is the cover that stuck out. Like, that's the one in my memory.
Right.
Because that's where the dog decided to choose.
I understand. It's a nice cover. I chew it too.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about the Venom thing. There's Oz, you posted something about who is it? The God Butcher?
Oh yeah. I guess they're doing reshoots for Thor, Dagger, and Thunder. And there's pictures of Christian for the Gore the God Butcher. Which when I first saw the pictures, I thought, oh, there's a statue.
Yeah.
And then actually show, like, I guess where he moved. I'm like, oh, okay.
And Thor the God Butcher, like, he has that look, but I guess that's the special effects, like pre-special effects look.
Yeah, they'll like make him look more like Voldemort or whatever.
Yeah, the noseless, fangful God Butcher. That doesn't look like any type of butcher. But yeah, I was like, when you showed it to us in the pre-production, I was like, what is it? I was trying to like see, like, oh, like I thought it was a Doctor Who thing. Like, is it a weeping angel without the wings? Like, but I don't know what it is.
I was trying to talk to you about the Lord. Because I know you'd be receptive to that message.
Yeah. But it didn't work. In other news, we talked last week about Frank Miller. People being mad that he was going to be at this Thought Bubble convention, and now they kicked him out finally, right? Is that what it was, Jay?
Yeah. They kicked him out. The convention said, we've been listening to people, and we're about inclusivity. And if you guys feel excluded, then we'll have him. We'll ban him in the interest of inclusivity.
We're so inclusive. We're gonna exclude this guy.
Well, it's everybody was coming for him.
Yeah, he's the draw for this thing, right? Is there any? Did I miss a bigger name?
That he's it.
Yeah, it's just him.
Yeah,
like I would be pissed if I bought a ticket to this thing and like, oh, he's not going to be there. Dude, I want a refund.
Yeah,
I know the majority of comments they've gotten have been anti-Miller.
Right, but that's people on the internet. That's not paying customers. Like nobody.
The people that have been buying, they said people that have been buying that had tickets have been asking for refunds because of Miller showing up. So, like they're talking inclusivity, but they're also looking at the money.
Yeah. Okay.
The young publisher you mentioned, they were actually like the rallying point, I guess, for everyone kind of saying, hey, we don't want him here.
That's sad. I mean, I when Frank Miller, Derek H says, did Frank Miller post some J.K. Rowling stuff? Why is he canceled? He's actually been canceled since around 2002 because he wrote something after 9/11 that is Islamophobic, and that's what they're judging him on what he said at this point almost 20 years ago. Not his apologies that he's done since, you know. But yeah, it's a weird thing, you know. Like they want people to change how they think, but they still want people. They still want to hold people to what they did before they were enlightened. You know what I mean? Like we saw it happen with Kevin Hart too. Like he had apologized already, and then they didn't want him to be on the Academy Awards. And he's like, I've already apologized. Like, what do you want? Like, you know?
Yeah, bullshit apologies. Fuck the baby. But his apology doesn't mean shit.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got pulled from all those concerts.
Who, Kevin Hart?
No, the baby.
Oh, the baby.
Yeah, he's a rapper. He said some dumb shit, some like really dumb homophobic shit. And then he tried to double down on it, and then he started getting pulled. Like Lollapalooza canceled him, a New York concert canceled him, and then he comes out with this like PR written apology that doesn't like, where he's like, "Oh, people taught me that what I said was wrong, and so now I get it." And it's like,
but that's different though, because that dude apologized once he started losing stuff.
Yeah.
Miller came out and like just within a couple of years and like, you know what? I was angry because of 9/11, but I think I took it too far, and my bad. I'm sorry.
And not only that, it was also a reaction. Like his Holy Terror book was a reaction to 9/11 one, but also something that they didn't let him do with Batman. So he's like, if they're not gonna let me do it here in this big because they care about this, then I'm gonna go extreme. So it's not even a commentary on Islam as much as it is like the censored work of corporate comics at the time. You know, I'm not making excuses for the Islamophobia. All type of phobia is bad. I hate arachnophobia, you know, but look, people are gonna think what they think, and you vote with your dollar. And the thought bubble people did it too. Yeah, at some point it's like, you know, what has he done since? Yeah. But look, Frank Miller's an old dude. Fire Clan Chat says, does this mean Frank Miller is now over since he's been canceled? And it's like, no, he's over because he's old as fuck. And the new generation's never going to appreciate him because they're focusing on the negative instead of how he reinvented the way that you tell comic stories.
I absolutely hope he's over and canceled because I want to get his art discounted. It's way too expensive for me right now. I need that discount.
But the thing is, when you're canceled, you can charge more because
he's not going to do.
Well, because the big ones will pay more. Like, they'll pay more just on principle. Like, you see how much they pay for, like, Nazi memorabilia and shit.
Damn it, I'm screwed either way.
Yeah. So
I'd rather get more Frank Miller stuff.
If you wanted to devalue his work and his earning power, you'd be like, you know what? Let's be inclusive and have him in here and just tell him he's a piece of shit in person every chance we get in the artist alley or wherever his panel is or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I need something to convince people to stop buying his art so I can get a good piece.
It ain't gonna be. Look, if there's anything, Comicsgate people has told us that there's money to be made to just even pretending you're a bigot. You know, like you say they don't want me to tell you this comic story. Yeah, it's because it's a shitty comic story, not because there's no black people in it. Yeah, but if you make that narrative like, oh, they don't want you to read this comic, so you see rejected this. It's been rejected by you spin it that way, fucking, you'd be making all that Kickstarter money.
And so I think this whole story is dumb. I hope this thing does good despite getting rid of Frank Miller, just because the comics industry isn't doing very well right now.
Look, this year is going to do good because people want to go to a fucking comic book convention. Yeah. Next year, we'll see what type of talent they can get. Whatever, you don't know about which favorite comic book creator isn't vaccinated yet. You're going to find out when they don't let them attend a convention next year. And that's going to be a whole other issue. Yeah.
Derek H wants to know who's closer to being uncanceled, Frank Miller or Gina Carano?
I think Gina Carano.
Yeah, because she's at the going up point. I forget what it's called, but the going up point of her career. Where Frank Miller, he's like you said, dude is old, and he's not producing like he used to.
He's not creating,
Yeah.
I love Frank Miller despite that, and I don't agree with his Islamophobia, but look. What more Islamophobia than the American country? Like, the problem with these people canceling him is that they were probably too young to really feel what people felt during 9/11. Everybody became a little Islamophobic, whether they wanted to or not.
I didn't.
Look, because you're a military, you're a service person. Yeah, you're looking at different things, but the average fat American consumer that is fed information as nourishment from the media. Like, everybody was a Bill O'Reilly fan a little bit in 2002.
Okay.
Gina Carano, I think, is closer to being uncanceled because she's hot.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find a comparison picture
of Frank Miller and Gina Carano.
No, like we were talking about phobias.
Oh yeah.
And the Final Fantasy 14 Sage job, which is the new job or one of the new jobs, in the Shadowbringers expansion was recently changed because people were complaining it was activating their tryptophobia, which is a fear of circles in a non like in a not evenly spaced circles.
Like if you see a messed up honeycomb, that'll freak you out.
Say again?
Like if you see a messed up honeycomb, it'll freak you out. Usually, what you see when they mention this fear is what are those lily pods? I think
Okay. The lily pads.
not the pad, but like where the seeds would go.
Oh, okay.
Right. So I can't find the comparison. I'm looking.
Does the sage have like a lot of holes in his body, or
No, it uses a new weapon, and I don't remember what it is called, but it's basically 4 panels. Yeah, I can't exactly remember like how to describe it for you.
that sounds weird.
But yeah, it's gonna take. I found the image, but it's gonna take too long. I'm sorry. I'll be better produced next week.
No. It was something that I did think to talk about when you brought it up in our production chat, and I was looking to stories. But yeah, I thought tryptophobia had something to do with teeth. But I don't know. I look, if you're afraid of something, just don't look at it. Like that's what white people do with black issues in America. You know what I'm saying? Like we're a society that is designed to put our head in the sand. Like, and honestly, if you're afraid of just circles arranged differently, you know what? Maybe you're the fucking problem. Like you shouldn't. Yeah, I'm not gonna say you shouldn't procreate or anything. I'm not in charge of that department of society. But it's like, yeah, there's something wrong. Get help.
I think they said it affects 6% of the population.
Yeah. Look, I want to know how many players of Final Fantasy it affects. Like, how many actual paying players?
Are they complaining because there's black spots on the swords,
Yeah,
which are actually like something sticking out of it?
right.
Okay, that's I agree with Derek.
Like people people brought it up to them. That's why they ended up changing it.
Yeah.
Look, your mic is triggering somebody's tryptophan or whatever.
Yeah. It's my engineering phobia.
Well, no,
But-
because it got little black holes, and it looks like somebody put a period on it.
I thought because of the sound.
No, visually.
Well, it's me for the sound. And
okay.
I need to be valid too.
All right, you guys heard it. Jay's canceled.
Jay's
Hold on.
You're canceled.
Let's see. I'm gonna share.
So Batgirl's been cast.
That sounds like someone with a bad case of I'm a pussyitis. No, like pussies could take a beating. Like especially mothers' pussies. Mothers' pussies could take a beating.
That's what that.
So
You know what?
The left, you have the original, and the right is what it was changed to.
Yeah, no, that's dumb.
I don't know what kind of phobe I am because I don't give a shit about any of that.
Yeah, it looks like two of them are fucking.
Yeah,
But that says more about me than.
yeah, but I mean, yeah, like I haven't encountered this phobia before, but they're basically to be inclusive. It's like I'm down for inclusivity.
Yeah, like you're down until you're the one being excluded.
Well, yeah.
But that's the thing. If you're down, like eventually it'll get to you. It's like a tide coming for a sandcastle. It's inevitable.
In other Final Fantasy 14 news, Asmodee recently was streaming again, and again problems were caused, but this time it was just because so many people were there to support him that it was hard on the servers. So
Why do we care about Asmodee again?
Because Joe told them to keep playing, and now he caused them to fuck up the servers again.
I mean, he's just a popular streamer that's playing the game I like and bringing more attention and people to the game I like, which brings the game more resources, which means they could do more shit. Like, support for a game I like.
Yeah. If you don't like it, where's your news story?
Well, I mentioned Batgirl, but then we went back to this.
Oh, what
Fear
about
of Hold.
she's been cast?
Yeah.
A redhead or no?
Nope. Puerto Rican.
That's like America's redhead, though.
No, because there's actually redheads in America.
No, but they get treated like Puerto Ricans.
Leslie Grace, which is a singer. Like her last, as far as I know, her only acting was that musical about poor people or something in New York.
In the
Les
Heights?
Miserables?
Yeah, in the Heights. Which I understand why you would get her for that, because she's a singer. She's a great singer. So you have a musical, you get a great singer. I don't know if I see her being Batgirl.
Okay.
And the weird thing is that I think the I'm forgetting his name right now, but the guy that was Commissioner Gordon in the Snyder movies is I think he's going to be Commissioner Gordon again. So this movie is all over the place. It's got the same writer that did the Birds of Prey.
Okay. I feel like she can do good.
Like, what about Birds of Prey makes you think she can do good?
I mean,
like you watched that, right?
I did.
Okay.
It wasn't great.
Okay.
But there's potential there.
No, the potential is that the characters are already great ahead of time, but then the writer does what the writer did, and you realize the writer don't know that there's potential there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Look, it's something I'm gonna end up watching anyway. I'm gonna force you guys to watch it so we can talk about it.
No, I want to watch the Batgirl movie. Like,
And I think it's straight to HBO Max. I don't think it's
oh, that'll make it even easier.
Yeah, so at least it's free. Right? You got that.
Free-ish.
Yeah, oh, you're not paying extra. It's not like Disney that charges you
Yeah.
money on top and then doesn't pay its actors.
Yeah, like that's the next story, right? The ScarJo.
That was my segue.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You didn't hear about ScarJo, Joe? I mean ScarJo J?
ScarJo J?
No, ScarJo, J.
Oh, I didn't hear about ScarJo.
So basically, like her contract.
Oh wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean we had a whole thing in the pre-production.
Glenn, yeah, I know her deal. She's upset because the streaming release fucked with their ticket sales, and she got less money for Black Widow.
Yeah.
And what's her name from Cruella is thinking of also
the same thing. Yeah.
Dwayne Johnson not suing, but he's fine.
Yeah. Well, they pay him enough because he's a man.
But the homegirl in that movie is thinking about it though.
Emily Blunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's odd. Like it just feels like a weird situation to me, where I get you're gonna fuck over your actors if you think you could get away with it, but I don't know. It feels like there's no reason to. Like, why not just pay them?
Well,
Because
they didn't make.
you're circumventing how they normally get paid. I would feel that you would kind of supplement that.
Well,
That's
when
not,
I was
that's not business.
when I was reading up on the story, and I don't know if this is true or not, but where I read it, they were saying that she did get some money from the streaming because it was a premium charge. Now, I don't know if it wasn't enough. I don't know if it was different than what she would have got for ticket sales, but she did get something. So I don't know. I think the big issue is that, like, Disney just came out straight up and was like, man, this chick going crazy. We don't know what the hell she's trying to profit off a pandemic and like try to like just really attacked her character for this lawsuit, which from everything I've heard seems kind of legit. Even if she did get some money from the streaming, without knowing the specifics of her contract and what she got from Disney, it sounds legit on the surface.
Well, the thing is, it's a percentage of the gross or the net of ticket sales. Now, when you don't have that many people going to theaters because there's a capacity issue, there's people planning not going, and there's not as many theaters still around, and then you still offer it online, and then that percentage isn't the same online because it's arbitrary at this point. They could just make it up because the streaming wasn't an option when she signed a contract. It's like, you know what? They're giving me something, but if this was any other time, I would have gotten more. So let me try and get more. And I don't even blame her, because had this movie been done, if they really wanted to save money, they would have made this movie 10 years ago when her contract was new and not give her shit. You know what I mean? So now it's like, yeah, take it to them and get as much as you can. Still get a bonus. This is the same shit that happened to me at Goodwill when they gave me an extra money after because they didn't pay us enough for our lunch breaks when we worked during our lunch breaks. It's the same shit. It's like, yeah, you tell us not to clock out, but you give us money. But then when we actually do the math, it's not the money we would have gotten if we would have just clocked out. Then you got to make up for it, and it needs to be disputed, and it needs to be set as a precedent for future contract signing. Now, I'm no legal expert. I just know that in business, you got to get everything in writing. They didn't ever tell her anything about what streaming residuals were. She's not going to get, when it goes to Netflix or whatever, she's not going to get anything from that. Or she might. But when they charge for people to watch it on streaming, that probably wasn't on, or it was on whatever the fee would be, because it's not $30 if you buy it on demand, right? It's less than that usually.
Yeah.
It's going to change the way that people make contracts. Marvel is probably going to have a lot more no names. Christian Bale as the God Butcher is probably going to be like, you know what? Let's look at this contract again. Yeah, and he might be edited out.
Yeah, and I think they would have saved themselves a lot of trouble if, when they made the decision to do the premium streaming, just call her agent and be like, hey, look, this pandemic thing, we want to get as many people to watch it as we can. We're going to do this premium streaming. What percentage?
It's
percentage. You just kind of like hash it out a little bit.
They saw it as a gamble because it's like, you know what, you're gonna get something. If she doesn't say anything, you won't either.
Yeah, and obviously they lost because she did say something, and now others are kind of jumping in thinking, hey, you know what? Yeah, he's right. she's right, and my movie was put out on streaming too. So what the hell?
I mean, Gal Gadot. I don't know what her deal was, but that there's something there. I don't know. The thing that helps HBO Max is that they didn't charge extra for it.
Yeah.
So it's probably like, and they probably already had a streaming deal. Like, we're gonna stream it on our thing ahead of time, so it probably fit the. It didn't violate the contract rather instead of fitting. Yeah.
Yep.
Last news story, I think, because it's about that time to go. There is a comic that just came out. I want to say last week. Sweet Paprika #1. It's sold out. It's going to be in second printing. Second printing is going to be August 25th, and we'll have a review of the second printing for you. But in the meantime,
28th.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Came out on the 28th.
Yeah, that was last Wednesday.
Right.
Yeah, and Joe, I put a little video of the little alternate cover montages for issue 2 that's coming out later this month, and they're all done by Mirka Andolfo. They're getting very racy, as you can see by the NSFW. Yo, I know you know about Sweet Paprika, right?
Yeah.
You read it already?
Uh-huh.
How'd you like it?
I like it. Like,
Yeah.
it's really
What is it? What is it about? I only know it's Mirka Andolfo, and I'm in, and I didn't buy it last week, but
right. So it's about a demon, a successful demon. She said, like, runs this really successful publishing company, but she's like really into her work, and she's not good at dealing with people. So she doesn't really date much. Like, so she has like very little romantic experience. And an angel who's really flirtatious, and he's good at a romantic, like he's good at sex, but he's not really great. Like, the people that sleep with them are just doing it for the sex, not really for the relationship. And that's what he's wanting. But I actually have a good relationship along with the sex, and they're gonna. It's a romance story about those two getting together.
Ah, yes, the angel of sex.
He delivers the mail.
Wait, what? Oh, so like, is that where the porn thing comes, where it's the mailman and hey, why don't you put it in my slot?
It's just, it is what it is. But it's a fun story. So far, I mean, the next issue, there's like an emergency with Paprika's dad. So,
Who's Paprika's dad? Like Satan?
no, just a regular demon guy, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mirka Andolfo is a talented artist. She wrote it too, right?
yeah.
Okay, I'm not 100% sure on her writing capabilities, but her art is. I mean,
She wrote Unnatural.
okay, again, that's another book I don't read. So
You didn't read Mercy either?
no, amazing art though. I love looking at those covers.
Man, so we gotta get you reading some books.
I like Mirka as an artist. She's brilliant,
And
and
she
I'm
wrote
sure-
the Sumerian too.
Say again?
The Sumerian. She did a run on the Sumerian, those Conan books, those non-official Conan books.
Wait, I think she did a Punchline book. I read that.
Yeah, she did that.
I know she definitely drew it. I don't know if she wrote it, but I liked it. If she wrote it.
I will vouch for her writing talent. Like, she's
No, I trust your guys' opinion on her writing. I'm just, I'm too visually stunned by her amazing artistic skills.
The beauty of her writing is that she writes them in Italian, and they translate so well to English that you think she wrote them in English. Yeah, like she just evokes the way she expresses the story. She just does it so well. It transcends language barriers.
Okay, yeah, I'll check it out. It's
Speaking
like I've probably read stuff that she's written before. I just can't think of it off the top of my head.
Well, speaking of Mo, another project that she's working on that you may be interested in is a Superman versus Lobo.
Oh, I'm in. They're probably gonna end up fucking, but I'm in.
But
Hey.
is that it?
Yeah, just one last thing for you, the people that have stayed up with us. Larry tapped out, but there is a Oz's package waiting for you. And here's a little teaser of the picture. His new Fallout 2021 loot crate box, and then I think tomorrow is also a one-shot review of Sandman Lock and Key. So yeah, stay tuned for that. You're only gonna get it if you like, subscribe, and hit the bell.
I honestly don't know how I made that face. Like, that's not a posed picture. That is a still from the actual video.
Yeah, it is.
I was gonna do a whole different cover, and my mouse just landed on that frame. I'm like, okay, well now I have to make this.
Yeah,
I have an option.
it's perfect. It's amazing. Yeah. Yeah, Oz's package. And then I'm going to be handling Oz's package sometime this week. So stay tuned for that too. In the meantime, the wrap-up music is coming. And you know what that sound means. Joe, give us some final thoughts. You know what? Let me
Check out.
start over, Joe. No wrap-up music. We'll do it in post.
Mo, you should check out the Siren's Call episode of G.I. Joe. It's written by a husband and wife team like you like.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm watching Beastars. Mo, you should watch that too.
Yeah. I multiple people have told me to watch that, and I was actually in the mood to do it last week. I almost started it. Yeah.
I just really want to see your take, because I know you're a big animal guy.
Yeah.
Your take on how these animals are represented. Like, there's one episode in particular where an herbivore is eating meat, and it's like the way they show it, like visually, and the internal monologue. It's just, man. And I really would just kind of like to get your take in general. I just want to hear you talk about Beastars.
Okay.
You did a whole episode by episode series. I would still subscribe to that.
Okay. Well, look. Yeah, I might just do that.
But
give me a reason to do it.
I'm watching that. I got Netflix for the month of August, so I'm catching up on a bunch of stuff that I missed, including Castlevania, the final season. Which, the more I watch it, the more I'm 100% positive Wheel of Time to be animated, and they're gonna fuck it up in live action. And I guess that's it for now.
You should check out Vampires. It's only 5 episodes. It's French, and it's pretty good.
Okay, yeah. Hit me in the post-production. Hit me in the production text to remind me.
Yeah.
There's still, like, honestly, there's a bunch of stuff I need to watch.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like,
No. You
Castlevania.
probably have all of August filled. You can't start new shit.
Like,
Yeah.
I watched all of Fear Street. That was amazing.
Oh, I still haven't done that, but I might do that this weekend.
Yeah, that was a really good time.
Nice. All right. Oz, man, give us some final thoughts.
So tomorrow, Thursday, The Suicide Squad will be available in streaming, I believe, at 7 p.m. at least on Central Time, because that's the first showing at the theaters. I would suggest you hold off and watch it in IMAX, the way it was shot and meant to be watched. It came out a week early in Europe, and so far everybody's talking about how great of a movie it is. James Gunn Unleashed or Unshackled is the biggest description, and a lot of action, a lot of gore. It's just a fun time.
I will say my one reservation about this movie is that they say anyone can die, but I don't believe it.
Oh, you know Harley's not gonna die.
Fucking way Harley is gonna die.
It's like anyone but Harley is can die.
Right.
Yeah, they're not gonna kill Harley. They're not gonna kill Idris Elba, Bloodsport.
They might.
I think, they have that opening shot with everybody walking with the flag behind them. I think all those are dead. Like they're just gonna wipe them all out.
I know Peacemaker is gonna make it because he's got an animated series coming.
Yeah, but I think that could be done like before the series.
Yeah, prequel, like what gets them arrested.
Yeah.
Is it animated? I thought it was live action.
I heard animated.
Yeah. Who knows? As for Larry had to turn on his engine. He didn't know that he had an alternator, but he thought he didn't, and that's why he's not here. He didn't know how to make turn a hybrid car into a battery.
That was so funny. Hey, is your battery gonna drain now? Oh, it's electric.
Yeah, it's like, the engine's gonna kick on because it's hybrid. Was it hybrid or like? So you do have an alternator. Yeah, that's why his dad left.
I don't think they had electric cars back then.
No, but he knew what Larry was gonna be like. Yeah, he's not gonna like sports. He's not gonna like cars. Like, well, what am I sticking around for? Yeah,
He likes MMA. That's kind of a sport.
yeah, but like from an old school guy, that's dudes hugging each other in speedos.
Yeah, it's not the.
Yeah.
Did you hear about that one guy who's like, I want to kill someone in the ring?
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
If that's not every guy that gets in
Yeah, I think they secretly all want to do that. Like that's what keeps them going. I really think like the MMA guys have really bad anger issues. Like they were either touched as a kid or in a foster program with an abusive person, or their dads like touched them or something. Like I do believe like if they actually. The only competitive edge they have over each other is the fact that one of them wants to kill the other more than another.
Yeah, I think if you're gonna get in that ring and fight another dude, your mentality should be, I'm gonna kill this dude unless that ref stops me.
Right.
And if that ref stops me, I won the fight. So let's go.
It happened like 3 fights ago where they broke a guy's arm and they didn't stop it. And then when they raise the guy's arm, it's like he lets go of his arm and it's like, yeah. And it's like, yeah, this dude, and he's ready like to lose his arm, and it's like, yeah, you know what, man, you should have learned how to use it. So it's but yeah, this isn't the MMA bro butt fest. That's on our Patreon. But yeah, sign up. Subscribe, like, hit the bell, comment, whatever. I don't give a fuck about the algorithm. Like it or don't. I don't give a shit. Just watch it and enjoy it. And yeah, we'll be here next week.
Oh, wait, I have a button for that.